Hey guys, this is Frosty. I was going to make a tutorial on finger tutting for everyone because remember a lot of people were asking me about that, and it's kind of more of an in-depth thing because there's so many different styles, so many different techniques and stuff. So what I'm going to do is not teach a routine because a lot of things teach you routines, kind of know the motions. I know when you practice on your own, sometimes you get stuck, you can end up doing the same thing. So I think what might help people more is just learning different concepts that you probably figure out on your own after messing around, but if someone just teaches you the concept, save yourself the time, and then you can mess around with the concepts and make up your own thing. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to start off with probably like more of the basic things, like basic positions. There are a few more basic tutting positions. I think probably the main one, this is probably the most popular one, just like an L shape with the palms. And you got that one, you got the L shape, which is, the loser one I always call it. Then you've got pinky tuts, so you can make squares with that. You can make squares with the L one, even with the palms. Then you got these ones. I don't know what you want to call them, but you kind of can tell what I mean. And you got those ones, and then if you want to go even farther, you can lift up your pinkies. You got those ones. My pinkies aren't as flexible, but you know what I mean. So those are like some pretty basic ones you can work with a lot in your finger tutting. Those five, if you can remember those ones, you can switch between positions. So like, oh wait, I'm here, and then like, wait, I got a pinky. You can make a box here, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, I got a box here. I can make this one, stuff like that. So if you're stuck and you're in the same finger position, remember you got a few positions you can switch between. Change up your sets. Those are kind of easy basic ones or some more advanced ones, but just trying to get you started. Probably know this already, but tracing is a basic concept. Tracing is pretty much just like following along the outlines of your hand or stuff. So you can trace along here in your L, you can trace around the outside, you can trace around. People do that a lot in light shows. So very common to trace around. Even like this one, for example, trace down, just pretty much outlining stuff. You can go slow as you want, but as long as you get the motion down, you're kind of used to it. This is kind of one popular tracing that you see guys do. With tracing comes hinges, so it's probably one you see a lot also is hinge, trace, trace, hinge, trace, trace, hinge, trace, trace, hinge, trace, trace. Like none of these words are technical, I just call them that. I think they're easy to remember, so take what you want, leave what you don't. And I think people also forget to mention that hinges, people usually think they're restricted to this, like, oh, trace, and they got a hinge or something, or hinge, trace. You can also remember that one main thing people forget is not just to trace in 2D, but you can also trace, like for example, you can't just trace in 2D, you can, but you can trace in 3D also. So like, you got, from this you can go down like this, hinge, and then back up again. You can make different arrangements. Like you also got your thumb, like you might not fly that one right away, but now that you can trace in 3D, you have more possibilities. Like you can go like this, and I have different stuff. There's just one way, you can also do this way, obviously, you can mix it around. Instead of just going like this for all the time, you're like, wait, I can go 3D, and stuff like that. So remember, you have a few finger positions to switch between. You have tracing, you can hinge in 2D and 3D, right? So this is 2D, example of 2D, right? 2D, and then 3D, forward, right? Stuff like that. I make faces when I tut, don't mind me. One thing also is kind of, people get restricted, like, okay, I gotta make little boxes, everything's a little angle, you get stuck in this thing. I did that too sometimes. So one thing you gotta remember is that think outside the box. You can always break the box. Like you're not always restricted. For example, like you got like, your hand tucked here. Then, for example, I don't know. One popular one say this. For example, you have your hands like this. You pretty much hinge over, and just get whatever. For example, like into a gun, right? You got your gun. You got your L shape, and I put in the gun, and then you split the box. You can go. It's like one of the possibilities you can do, and then you can go. Like, don't be afraid to get out of the box every once in a while. Like, it will help. You can even go 3D and breaking boxes. Like, it's still technically finger tutting. And like, you can even just go around your whole hand. For example, you have this thing. You can use a fist. Fist is a good. You can even toe fist. Like, and then it's a good transition. For example, you're here. You have a fist or thumb, or whatever you call it, and you can go 3D. You're not tracing anything, but it helps do something. If you're kind of limited, or if you're tutting something, go around. You want to do something, flip it. This is a hinge. It's a different kind of hinge. You can hinge both of them together and make like a shape, and then do this and hinge it back. So don't be afraid to, like, for example, if you have a box here, don't be afraid to change, just break the box if you want to start somewhere else fresh. So I wrote down stuff so I don't forget it. You have breaking, you have shapes, you have traces, hinges, 3D shapes, breaking the boxes, right? You don't want to stay restricted to the same little fucking box shit over and over again. You can still like be far away and still trace stuff, and it'll be still tight. And then wave tuts. I know a lot of people do that. It's not really difficult. It's pretty much finger wave. Pretty much any finger wave you have, except for example, going outside in, right? You pretty much starting like this, and just pretend you're doing this way, right? Like a regular finger wave. You point inwards. Just stay with the pinky. Go outwards. Stay with the index finger. So it's pretty much the same thing. Here, for example, I want to finger wave. Let's say I'm finger waving this one right here, to this position. So one way you can do it is just as you slide this one down, finger wave, and then stay in that position. Now you're in a whole new tut. So it looks cool. Now with the thumb, I want to finger wave it back up. See? And then, or even when you trace around, you got different finger tuts. It's just like a nice way to add flair, different transitions. Like for example, even when you're tracing this way, you're tracing around. But you know what I mean, tracing around and you stay in the pinky. You stay that way. You can't always see it because of the hand. His hand is still in the camera, but you know what I mean, right? So you gotta, even from distance, you can finger wave. So you got your little weird L-shaped thing. Stuff like that. You also got this, right? So you can finger wave, tut with all that. Those are pretty much some basic concepts. Like you can get around with that. That's pretty much enough to like broaden your horizons. You can stop right here if that's all you need. That'll be more than enough. But if you want to try some different shit, like maybe a little bit more complicated, but if we need to know more digits to do this, that will probably help. One thing I know a lot of people do is finger vanishes or ghosts or whatever. So for example, I have my fingers here. Check it out. So I have my fist here. This would be my finger to ghost, vanish, right? So I have here. So, like, you have different stuff. Like, if I put this one here, it's gone. Sorry, it's kind of late. But you know what I mean, right? It's like you're just vanishing. You put one finger on top of it, either make it appear, disappear, and you remove it. You can do it in a lot of different ways, so it's a different way to add it. Or you can have a multiple finger vanish, like for example, you have one finger, and then just make this one go down, and just let it disappear. And that made them all reappear. So finger vanish is a little more coordination, but it's a really cool illusion if you can get it right. Another thing is remotes. So remote is pretty much you have a hand, right? Whatever shape it is put in this shape, and the other hand controls it in sort of remote control fashion. So this one, you can turn it. The shoulder just popped. Turn it this way, that way, that way, and then you do your finger wave tut, which was an example. You can twist it, and you can turn to every way. You can even push it, twist it, you know. It's like a remote control, so you can even do like twisting it this way. I don't know if you can see my hand, alright? Twisting it, and then twisting it the other way. You can like crank, like fingers to close, crank it to open. It's just pretty much using one hand to control the other one. So this is technically a remote. Like the one I showed you earlier, that's technically a remote because you're controlling with one hand. That's one thing that I think probably opens some doors for you. Another thing you might want is, I call them magic moves. It's pretty much mixing tutting with like moving your fingers. So for example, you have like your tut, right? Close it together, and then you just, it's nothing fancy, but it just like adds, like this is a finger vanish right there. And then you have, for example, even with a king tut here, right? You have a king tut, you can always do this. It's not really a tut, but it adds an element of like magic, I guess, right? So even if you want to transition even from one move to another, finger roll, double finger wave, and then you can always go into remote, I'm fucking up, magic moves, right? Quote unquote. I think that's pretty much the main thing. Yeah, and then you can also mix with king tuts and finger tuts too. So you can also add some other little tuts, like for example, you have this one, in positions, you have this position, right? You try with just the pinky. Also try tracing, right? You have, you can always try different complicated ones. Like here's a parallelogram, kind of. And you can always trace that. You have another one here now. And you guys keep going, you know, sort of thing. You also got, instead of going this way, right? You got this one from your finger roll. You can always try boxing with that. Another one I used a few times is like this one. And if you can kind of tell, it's like you kind of move your index finger back a little bit, and it forms like a mini L. You can always like I don't know if you can kind of see with my fingers in the way, but it's pretty much like a little mini tut, and you just tut, trace that, and you can always go along. Like it's not supposed to add a lot, but like the point is you can always fuck around with different finger positions and make like a little mini box, or you can even just like have your little box here, like baby tuts. Like if you're up in someone's face, you can see little mini ones, especially girls, so I think it's really cute. Because you have to, oh look, the little mini boxes, stuff like that. Don't forget you also can do tuts. See, this is kind of like a finger roll, but it's kind of an element of like magic because you just, the way you roll it. Oh, this is kind of like a finger vanish too. So you have different possibilities. Hopefully that helps you. I know I went through a lot kind of fast, but there are different ways you can put variety into your light shows. So hopefully those concepts help you. Just mess around with them, try different things, go slow. Think about, okay, what are concepts I can put in here to make it work? I'm stuck, so maybe I can break it to change the tut position, break the box, trace differently. Maybe I can use the remote control, stuff like that. So hopefully that helps you. If you have any questions or comments, leave a comment below. And happy clubbing, guys. See ya.